SilverBack here. It's a new day, and I woke up to getting a wonderful email from one of my subscribers, and he asked the very, very reasonable question of, I'm trying to make life changes, I'm trying to get better at what I'm doing, but in changing my diet, changing my nutrition, trying to get my macros right, I am suffering from the fact that I'm hungry all the time. And as I reduce my calories, I find myself sort of craving food, having these cravings and trying to deal with it. So how do I stop the hunger? Well, before I get to exactly that question of how to stop the hunger, he also brought up the other fact that, look, I know from past experience that if I continue to have these cravings all the time, I'm going to fail. I'm going to do that old thing that a lot of people do with dieting, which is you diet for a little while, but those cravings are still there, and you've got this little voice in your ear all the time saying, oh, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. And you try to tell yourself, because everybody tells you, that what you need to have is willpower. You try to tell yourself, just have willpower, you'll get through it. Well, I'm here to tell you that willpower is a load of bullshit. Willpower, in a way, doesn't really exist. It exists in very sporadic moments. But willpower doesn't work against compulsion. Right, and I'm going to have a whole pile of you people out there who say, oh, but I use willpower all the time. People should be more like me. Actually, people shouldn't be more like you. You're a prick. People should actually wake up and recognize that what compulsion is also the same as addiction, and we all have compulsions and addictions. You know, I was watching the Joe Rogan show the other day, and Joe was talking about making lists before each day so that he has a list of the things that he wants to accomplish. And if he doesn't get to that list, well, he makes himself sick over it. If he doesn't write the 1,500 words that he said that he was going to do, it just totally eats him up. Well, see, that's compulsion. That's addiction. And it's not a bad thing. People think addictions are a bad thing. Actually, bad addictions are a bad thing. Addictions to drugs and alcohol and sex and things that ruin your relationships and ruin your health. Yeah, those addictions are bad, but having an addiction to going to the gym, working out, getting your work done, being a great husband, being a great wife, making sure your kids are well looked after, those compulsions, those addictions, if you will, those are great things. We should all cultivate them. But I would put it to somebody like Joe Rogan, I would put that compulsion that he has to getting his list done, I would say, if you're wanting to see what I'm talking about with willpower, all right, if Joe has this thing in his head all the time telling him to get the list done, get the list done. If you don't get the list done, you've got to get the list. Well, if he has that in his head all the time, okay, now Joe, willpower is not doing the list. I want you to go 30 days not doing the list. Let's take Jocko Willink. Everybody says, oh, he's got such great willpower because he works out at 4:30 every morning and then he goes surfing and then he gets this done. That's not willpower. He's compelled to do that. I would put it to Jocko, okay, Jocko, let's go the 30-day challenge, the 60-day challenge. No working out, no press for your book, no surfing. Let's see how you go. You have to sit on the couch and watch daytime television. Well, that's actual willpower. When you fight against, well, that's where willpower isn't. When you're trying to fight against compulsion, willpower will fail. I hear these people saying, well, you know, I'm not a heroin addict, I use willpower. Well, how much of your day do you actually have your brain saying, oh, I've got to have heroin, I've got to have heroin? Never. So it's not willpower. to not do it. You know, if you happen to be, say, Donald Trump, okay, Donald Trump, try not to make a power play, try not to get into the press, try not to be part of the media for 60 days. Just go, again, sit on the couch, watch daytime television. Because I can tell you that that's much harder than it sounds. People are like, yeah, but they're just lazy. They sit on the couches, these drug addicts, and watch daytime television. Really? Could you give up the accolades of your job? Could you give up the security? Could you give up all those things? Compulsion is something that drives you every day. So, willpower can fight compulsion today, maybe. Willpower can fight compulsion tomorrow, maybe. But eventually, I swear to you, Jocko Willink, if you don't know who he is, look him up. He has been a great soldier for the United States, and I think what he does and what he stands for is terrific. So don't get me wrong, I'm not actually coming down on Joe Rogan or Jocko Willink or anybody. I'm just trying to make the point. I bet Jocko doesn't have the willpower to not work out once for 60 days. He's going to pop out a couple of push-ups, he's going to want to do a couple of pull-ups, he's going to want to go for a run, or he's going to want to go for a swim. You can do nothing but walk slowly, Jocko. 60 days. You can't do it. That's willpower. He couldn't do it. He would break down. And that's the thing. If you translate that to a heroin addict, right, one breakdown, okay, for Jocko it's no big deal, so he does some push-ups. For a heroin addict, one breakdown in 60 days means he's back on the cycle. Right? And so we're saying, oh, you've got no willpower. Compulsion, willpower, addiction, it's all the same. So let's get back to hunger. If you want to get over being hungry, and food is a particularly hard one because food is something you need for nourishment. So if you have a problem, if you have a compulsion with food, if you eat because it makes you feel better when you're depressed, or you eat because it's a real pleasure for you, and you've had a weight problem, health problem, pre-diabetic, these sort of things, you have to sort out how to not have your compulsion when you have to have your compulsion. It's really tough. And willpower is not going to beat it. So how do you beat your compulsion? How do you beat your addiction? You have to change the game. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting a different result. If you don't change your compulsion, it will not change. You'll be in the same situation. You've got to change the game. If you happen to be an alcoholic, you can't go sit in the bar every day and expect your willpower to beat not having a drink. You might make it a few days. You might make it a week. Good on you. Pat on the back, but you're going to fail. Right? Food is the same way. So I have also found that time, I haven't had the same problems as some people, but I've had weight issues in my time. If you look at some of my before and afters that I actually have up on the channel, you'll see that I did have a weight issue, and I found it hard not to overeat at meal times. I found it hard not to eat the wrong things, and I found it hard not to snack in between meals and eat too much at those times. So how did I change the game? Well, I changed the game with a ketogenic diet. The ketogenic diet changes you over from using glucose as an energy source to using ketones. Your liver breaks down fats and turns them into ketones. It's an extremely high fat, low carb, moderate protein diet. That will, because you're using fats, turning them into ketones, you don't have the highs and lows that sugar causes. So therefore, quite simplistically, you don't get cravings, not nearly as much anyway, and you don't tend to be hungry in between meals. In fact, once you get keto adapted, you actually find that you can miss meals and you might even forget to eat. Whoa, game changer. Yes, that's the thing, you've changed the game. So how do you deal with hunger issues? Well, same way you deal with all compulsion. You change the game. And for some people, that might be going to a Narcotics Anonymous or an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, and you change the game for yourself by going and putting yourself in a different situation than you would have been before. It generally means that you change your focus or you change your compulsion. Actually, a lot of people go from having drug problems or alcohol problems, and they start working out like fiends. Some of them find religion. I would say that the working out thing is a very typical way that people get into something else that is healthy. Your diet is something that you can also start focusing on, and the ketogenic diet is a way that you can change the way you feel, and your compulsion is different. When you lose that addictive, compulsive behavior, it opens up doors for different behavior, for you to start concentrating on other things. There is this great big piece of your brain that is opened up, and you're able to focus on stuff that, quite frankly, you really do deep down find more important. Well, this has been a bit of a rant, but I think it's important. It's important to realize that when people say, oh, you should just have willpower, they aren't talking from a place where they've ever had to use it in a situation like, okay, you're talking to an alcoholic and you say, well, you just shouldn't drink. On Thursday night, was offered a glass of wine and I turned it down. Why can't you just turn it? You weren't compelled. At 8 o'clock in the morning, that alcoholic, his brain said to him, have a drink. At 8:30, at 9, at 9:30, all throughout the day, the whole day. Not once in your day did your brain say, oh, I should have a drink. You weren't compelled. It's not willpower. And so, change the game. Figure out how to make something else more important, or make yourself feel a different way, or make it so it's not possible to get your compulsion. And again, as I said, food is a very difficult one because you have to have it. All right, ketogenic diet is the way that I beat hunger. But for all of you out there who are dealing with compulsion and dealing with addiction, I really hope you can find the game changer. Stay with the SilverBack, stay with me, because I will continue to put out these videos, positive messages on how to change your game, how to improve your life so that you love your life, you help other people around you, and you can give and receive without it being toxic. All right, I'm the SilverBack. Good luck, all of you out there. I believe in you. Let's make this a better planet. Let's be better people. Thanks, guys. Catch you next time.